But just onboarded 15 million new wallets. What did you guys sell him on that made them so excited to actually go on Near?
One was we had a very aligned vision. They're very like, hey, it's all about the users. It's about onboarding them in the smoothest way, right? That was like the main thing. I don't think anyone else in this space is actually putting any attention on that. Number two is the scale they are operating with. Like they've actually tried other blockchain and do not scale to that, right? We actually like at the call, I made a smart contract for him and loaded up with their load and showed that it actually works. Right? It wasn't like, hey, you need like a bunch of infrastructure, side chains, or whatever. Right. It's like it literally works right now, and it, and we just continue optimizing, making stuff better, right? And then third is like I showed him kind of our commitment to like as an ecosystem and specifically as core team like that works on protocol to continue innovating on this, right? Near is all about kind of continuous innovation, in iteration, and so. For me, that commitment is all about like we're shipping new sharding phase, like we continue doing that. They're gonna get their own shard as things are expanding. Like this kind of stuff is like how you get like truly the scalability, but also like you continue delivering on what people are expecting.
And also to make projects, kind of be a little bit more adult in general. So when they are thinking about building up the project, when, for example, somebody, builds a wallet, they need to think about the usage of the RPC, that this thing is not for free, though they can get some of the RPC for free, but then they need to think about how this is going to work, how they are going to generate money in order to pay for it in the future. So they need to have some kind of business model around the wallet. They need to think about this. And that's absolutely okay that this business model is not yet proven or is not fully working for them to be able to cover all of the costs. That's not a problem.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to also chime in a bit. The most important part is, as Eric said, is to keep the balance between buying everything, like basically giving out grants to every single idea, and like involve as many teams as possible, and at the same time maintaining the budget lean. So far it results in several discussions about, especially like competing offers. For example, our RPC infrastructure on Near is becoming more rich with different providers trying to offer their solutions. But at the same time, it seems like the ecosystem or economy around the RPC ecosystem is not there yet. And I will give a spoiler here, I guess, since we didn't openly communicate it in a written form yet. But the something that we want to build is this economy of infrastructure in Near ecosystem, where we do not directly sponsor the leaves on the infrastructure itself, but actually we want to see the
Hey, welcome everybody. We are back live again. It is Thursday. It is 5 p.m. UTC. We have another great episode coming up. We have two parts to this episode. First part coming through is going to be us at DevHub, the moderator team, which helps kind of organize a lot of stuff that's going on at DevHub. We're here to give our kind of Q2 report. If you hadn't seen before, we actually did a town hall earlier in the year. It was something that we really wanted to make sure that we were being very transparent with the community, and we took questions. We invited the public, and that's actually live still on our YouTube channel. You can go back and watch the replay of that. And we felt it was appropriate time coming here at the end of the quarter, talk about what Q2 looked like around DevHub, what are we continuing to work on, how we're continuing to grow, and then talk a little bit about Q3. Second half of the show, we're going to have the Heat from Jutsu back on. He's going to talk about some updates they have coming. We're going to we have a game set that we're going to play as well together and kind of go through some of that. But first, let me bring up some of the moderators from DevHub team, and let's kind of dive into what Q2 was all about. So I'll bring everybody up. Hey, all. All right.
Hello.
So,
Hi.
I think this is a great opportunity to kind of almost like reintroduce ourselves a little bit too. So I thought maybe we could just kind of first go around and just talk about the general overall, like what is DevHub to people, and to kind of get an understanding of that, and then we can maybe each talk about what we actually represent within that community. So, Vlad, can you kind of start with like what is the high level view of what DevHub is to everybody?
I think that is a very good topic to open up with, because like the DevHub is very different for every single person out there from what we are hearing. We started as basically a place for people to come in and feel connected and to be supported, provide support ourselves. So it's like peer-to-peer place for all the near community members on different topics, on different values, different ideas. And from there, we saw the opportunity to also curate it a little bit and provide better visibility to the outside world for those who are joining a bit later to navigate the space. That's why we build out the communities and also the funding pipelines that we added later last year. But I'd like to hear all other opinions here on in the group. Yeah. So Ori, maybe you next.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Ori, and I oversee the day-to-day operations here at DevHub, also product development. And I guess, yeah, that's a good way to frame it. Like DevHub really is many things, but essentially at the core, we want to build a thriving, decentralized developer community. And we do that through many different verticals. We try to meet people where they're at. The way that I'm involved on a day-to-day basis is really through the DevHub portal, a platform that we use to share resources with people, connect everyone with communities and funding opportunities. And I'm happy to go into it in more detail. But yeah, really at the start, at least when I joined DevHub, we were all about technical governance and decision-making and standing up work groups and NEPs, new enhancement proposals. And all of that requires, like, to do decentralized decision-making requires a lot of thoughtful coordination and communication. And it's actually really hard to do. It's not an easy problem to solve, especially coming from Web 2 to Web 3. There are a lot of barriers. And over the last year and a half, really, we've been trying to figure out how do we scale that ability to innovate and make decisions and provide people with the support that they need. So I really see DevHub as playing that role. It's just like decentralized decision-making, community, innovation. Those are the things that kind of that resonate for me. And yeah, I'll hand it over to Guillermo as well.
Well, I can say what DevHub is personally for me, because for me, when I started, DevHub was the way to find people to actually help and contribute in docs and tools. I always say that if it was not because of DevHub, the documentation will have not advanced this much in the past 6 months. It's very hard to like create documentation and create tools and maintain it. And one person, two people, three people cannot keep with absolutely everything. And DevHub was that place where developers could come together and find something to contribute to the ecosystem. And like we were there to help them and guide them, but also they were there to help us. So it's for me, it has always been this real developer hub where you can find people that is excited to work on the things that we find interesting, and that we can guide them into making the near ecosystem a better place.
Yeah, great point there. And I think I love the aspect of it. Everyone can kind of make it their own of how they need to use DevHub, and we're not being prescriptive in any way of like you have to do this here if you want to come in through. You can only contribute here or there. It is much more open and flexible. A part that came up here, Ori, is the platform piece of it. Can you talk a little bit about like what exactly our platform is and kind of how we've seen it grow over the past 3 months?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, the portal, the neardevhub.org, is the one-stop shop for everything that near builders, developers might need on their journey here to be able to connect and contribute. You can find resources, getting started guides, various collaboration tools, and communities, and also a place to submit proposals and get funding. And we've been through quite a journey to build this portal. The project is open source, and anyone is able to contribute. We've had over 17 community contributors over the last year, and everything is public. You can find things on GitHub. Oh yeah, thank you for pulling up the screen. It makes it a lot easier for people to visualize. Yeah, you can see I think over 400 PRs was the last time I checked that were closed. Some of which range in real complexity and addressing active issues that we're figuring out as we go. So huge shout out really to all of these community contributors. It's really a pleasure to be able to work with all of them and just to see so much great stuff happening. But yeah, just more specifically, I guess to dive into a couple of things that happened in Q2 on this portal. The first one is if you click over on the proposal section over there, you'll see that we launched a brand new proposal system that makes it really easy for people to submit their idea through a little bit more structured process that makes it easy to follow what's going on throughout the entire journey. And we've actually had, I think if you go back to that previous screen, over 132 proposals that have followed this new format. And we've already facilitated close to $500,000 in funding through this new format. And there's a lot of detail. There's a blog post that we can drop that people can go read all the features. There's a lot of design thinking that we did to arrive to a level of simplicity that I can understand what to do when I get here, which is pretty fun. And the second thing is about scaling this. How do we take this portal and all of our lessons and share it with other partners in the ecosystem? So that's exactly what we did. And this quarter, we launched a portal instance for the events committee, which is overseeing a lot of the different events and hackathons that are happening on Near, as well as the infrastructure committee, which we actually had last week at DevHub Live, overseeing a lot of funding for infrastructure initiatives. And so now all these different groups are able to leverage these tools to be able to make decisions, coordinate, and fund projects. And we have a lot more exciting plans coming up this quarter. I don't know if you want to head there next or later, but I'm happy to get into it.
Yeah, let's stay here for just a second. I think this is I think people don't always really realize how much is actually here. So I think there's two things that we should go maybe a step further into. One is who can actually put in a proposal. Like if I want to actually do some work, what is that process for someone to go through?
Yeah, I mean, really anyone who wants to be able to innovate is able to come and take a look, but obviously it depends on what sort of thing you're interested in. So if you're wanting to work on any infrastructure related stuff, I would say go to the infrastructure committee check out their getting started guide and the kind of projects that they fund and see if that's a good fit. And if so, go ahead and start there. If you're interested in doing more something hackathon related, go to the events committee. For DevHub specifically, we're focusing on tooling and things that are engaging developers on a day-to-day basis. So if you have something in those areas, this portal will be the great place for that. But you're pointing to this blog page over here, which actually has a lot more specific resources and steps for how to go through the different steps. Vlad, Guillermo, do you all want to touch in on how people can get started in your areas?
I would like to say that I resonate with what you said, that absolutely anyone can. And for example, like for developers, right? Like many times I see that one of the first barriers that developers encounter is that they want to come and they want, to contribute, but they think that they're not good enough, that, like that they don't have enough knowledge, and they go and they look at the issues and they say like, there's no way I can tackle this. And for these kind of things, we, like, it's not that you can only present like a proposal to fix something. You can also present yourself as someone that needs guidance. And there we have fellowship programs where we can actually take you in, and not only, like we will not just throw the problem at you, we will guide you towards solving it, because by solving it, you actually, solve a problem for us. So here's this as an opportunity for people to not only contribute, but also grow as developers. And for me, this is very important. And this really shows that anyone can come, because it's not only about like, yeah, anyone can come and make a post. Like, you can come and grow as a developer, because we are interested in that happen.
From my side, I just want to add that I'd like to take this as an opportunity to actually have a call for action to the community. If you know what you want to build, if you have a passion, please let us know and reach out through the proposal or in any of the relevant community chats, so we can, guide you better and discover what we do not know, because we are just for people sitting in front of you. But reality that the community is much bigger, and with the community effort, we can tackle much more wider scope. So I just want to encourage more contributors.
Sure, absolutely. Let's transition a little bit to some of the larger aspects that I think is more forward-facing, is some of the DevRel and tooling stuff. We'll start with DevRel. You're the newest to the team. You haven't been here the whole quarter, but you've been really involved with like the documentation for a long time now, which is a huge core part of any developer program. Talk a little bit about kind of some of that stuff, and then maybe this might be a good opportunity to talk about also like where some of the stuff is going, especially around the DevRel piece of it.
Yeah, sure. If you want to talk about docs, I love to talk about docs. But no, yeah. So for Q2, docs saw a lot of technical debt being fixed, which like is one of those things that, like we developers tend to always be going to the new shiny thing, right? Like a new feature. And by the time you look behind, you left 6 features that they work, but like they worked 6 months ago, and now they have like dependencies that need to be updated and links that are broken, and a lot of these, like you never have time to take it on. And then comes DevHub, and we so now I'm part of DevHub, but it's very important to remember that I started as one of the main contributors of. So Damian and me, we are both the main contributors of docs, and we needed help. And then we came to DevHub to search for that help, and we got people that help us to tackle a lot of technical problems. And when I say a lot, it's like someone literally sit down and fixed like 180 broken links. And someone else came and deleted about like 70 pages that were there just making noise. And then we also managed to create a lot of documentation about like how to use different products, and we can add more, and we can tackle like problems that the community had, and things that, like the community had told us like, hey, this tutorial is hard, or this tutorial is outdated. And docs managed to advance a lot because of that. And we managed to not only do this, but also start working on reorganizing documentation, because we have feedback from the community saying like, okay, maybe there are too many sections, maybe there are too many pages. and you need help in order to fix that. So I'm very excited on like that in Q2 we managed to do all of that, and meanwhile also build new educational tools. For example, I see now that now you're in Docs. So if you go to build, which is right up there, or you can access directly to smart contracts if you want. Yeah, and if you open, you see that behind you have smart contracts. What is a contract? You can click on building a smart contract. Yeah, and now you can click on anatomy. And then basic anatomy, right? Which is the first link. And we created this code explainer, and all of this is because we had time to do it, thanks to DevHub and thanks to the people contributing in DevHub. Which, like, if you start scrolling, you will just see that it will be highlighting the relevant pieces of the code, telling you where is the storage, what are the read-only features. This is amazing to explain to someone, right? Because like you just go and tell them like, hey, this concept that I'm explaining to you, it actually has been used in this GitHub example, because if you look at the example below it, it says see full example on GitHub. And therefore, we were able to merge all of this together. And this was one of the most exciting things that we did in Q2, at least, like one of the things that I find the most, because it helped a lot to explain to people concepts, and documentation is for that, it's for teaching.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really has transformed, over the past few months, and I think that rapid development has really been a huge plus for that. One of the other things that goes on is, is supporting at events. How does this help when we are at events, and like, when you're explaining in person? Has this really changed those type of discussions?
Well, this actually came out of feedback from events, right? Like, because something that happens a lot in events is that people will tell you like, I did not understand this, but I like it how they explain it in somewhere else, right? Like, and a lot of people talk about the Stripe documentation, and the reason why the people like the Stripe documentation is because of this, and because it goes showing you in live time, right? Like on real time, like what concept you're learning, where it is that being used somewhere. And so the whole idea is that now developers, we can just tell them like, you want to learn about smart contracts, go here. This will guide you step by step, which help a lot from the previous concept, which was just like a bunch of text, and that was not good for absolutely anyone. So developers are, at least, like the feedback that we're getting is very positive.
Awesome. Amazing stuff. Vlad, so let's jump over to some tooling stuff. Now, tooling is obviously the lifeblood of a developer coming in, right? Like, I can't build anything if I don't have the right tools. And I don't think it's really clear on the role to most people of like, where does DevHub sit in relation to tooling on Near?
Well, without tooling, it's physics out there. You can shine a light into your cables, optic cables to communicate with the internet. But other than that, it's not very useful. So all of us needs tooling at every level of the abstraction, basically. And that DevHub specifically is filling the gap of letting the protocol to be able to be actually accessible by the developers in a easy way. And for that, we built on-chain tooling and off-chain tooling. So on-chain tooling is something that you're usually referred to as the contract SDK that you can start building off. And for Near, we have plenty of options, actually, thanks to the Wasm runtime that Near protocol implemented as a core. And basically, this means that any programming language could be eventually used to build contracts on Near. And for that, we basically have, and we naturally started with Rust SDK and assembly script at the very beginning. And then we evolved it into actually migrated to recommending people to use JavaScript SDK. I think that is revolutionary in the blockchain space to use JavaScript for the contracts. So I still believe that it's a huge benefit of Near in general, with this core that allows us to build all kinds of tools very flexibly. and that's this. But also it means that we have so many different options, so many different languages to support, that we need to carefully choose and pick, and where we invest our time into. So there are several research and developments going on in this area, including, for example, Python and other languages to try to build SDK for. And then on the off-chain side, you basically need to be able to write, to implement your applications for the end users. And end users would not interact with the blockchain with your smart contract via RPC calls. They need some user interface, and for user interface is a solved problem, but there is a need for easy library to interact with the blockchain. And we have plenty of various libraries out there, which we want to have more polished, better documented, easier to use, and all those hard problems to solve. So, and just to name a few wins over the past quarter, that we actually reached new major version release for JavaScript SDK for the on-chain contract development. It's 2.0 version, and it is much more well. It was, in my opinion, in a pretty good state, but now with 2.0, we actually made sure that it's well tested and have pretty good examples. And we also have this Agar app education platform, which allows people to easily pick up on the concepts that are used in the smart contract development. I guess this is the right link. We will need to make it even more prominent, I guess, but definitely check it out. It's very nice, again, interactive playground. And recently there were added also challenges to crack, which I think it's also adds a lot of joy to the process of learning when you not only building but sometimes hacking the existing code. And on the Rust side, it's been very solid ecosystem before, but in the past couple of months, it became even more built out. Some of the things that are coming just like right now will improve the whole ecosystem significantly. Those are like reproducible builds, meaning that you compile it on any host, and you get the same WASM file, which contributes to security and discoverability of the code, and making sure that you're looking at the right piece of code actually. And there is code coverage tooling added, and a couple of more interesting ideas on the way. And the tooling to get it up and running and deployed to production or to testnet makes things much more easier with this cargo near. The cargo is a package manager in Rustlang world, which allows you to build like cargo near new, cargo near build, cargo near deploy, and boom, you are already live on mainnet or testnet. Similarly, Rust CLI RS is getting all the best features of both worlds. The Rust CLI JS, which had short and well adopted commands in the ecosystem, and the new way of using the CLI with guided mode of interactive guidance for people. This CLI evolves every single day with more and more features that are very, devil in detail kind of stuff, where you can start even learning how Near works through this experience. So we are adding more like hints here and there. So we are actually interacting right now with RPC, making this call or that call. So actually, app developers could even, use CLI at first, model their behavior, and learn what needs to be done in order to get to achieve the goals they want to, like when they are calling a contract or when they're building like a complex transaction. So this is cool stuff, and this is what has been done in the past several months.
Yeah. I mean, so much. It's really been, I don't think people always appreciate how much effort goes into all of this. I mean, sometimes it's probably, most times probably harder to build the tooling itself than what you then comes after that, because there's so many considerations. But anyone who's been here for a little while will know, I think, hands down, the Rust CLI tool is one of the best things from a tooling standpoint, period. Like, and not just in Near, I think just in the larger developer ecosystems, because it has really simplified that entire thing. And I think it's important to state here, as DevHub, maybe you can just touch on like what exactly our role as DevHub was in making sure something like that gets across the finish line.
Yeah, sure. Well, it wouldn't be possible to build ourselves. It's been a huge effort of probably several dozen of people contributing to all this tooling over the past year, and the cool part of it, I believe, that it's all like decentralized and driven by passion of people, and we can the nice part of it also that this passion can be monetized, and we actively support people and reward people with money, which helps us to keep things going really fast. But at the same time, people can and developers can contribute at their spare time without making full compromise on their current situation, whatnot. So DevHub is very flexible in that aspect, providing various opportunities for people to go either full-time or part-time, or just contributing at your own pace.
For sure.
And with the guidance from the community, discussions, and feedback, you can immediately see how the life of people has changed after your contribution to this or that tooling, this or this documentation page. And this is so amazing. And
Sure.
DevHub has been built basically on the idea of leveraging as much of Near ecosystem itself. So we build the portal on top of our own tooling.
Right.
Our own, meaning not DevHub's tooling, but Near's tooling. Sorry for expropriating.
No, I think that's all a great point of like where too, it is not being driven just by a centralized group, right? It is open source. It is contributors coming from all over, and DevHub being able to provide some monetary assistance for some of it. Yeah, you're not getting paid as a full-time job, but to be able to be recognized both, as a pat on the back, but as well as maybe some money for your time, it just is a really much better experience to come in and hopefully continue to incentivize people to join in. Let's pivot a little bit. So, Ori, I want to go back to you. So we're coming into Q3 here. A ton of work went into getting the platform where it is and making some changes. There's also been some changes around how payouts are working and all of that type of stuff. What's coming for Q3 that we really should highlight and get people excited about?
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned the payout aspect, and that really is a big focus for us in Q3 in solving, because right now there are many people that depend on this portal to get paid, and currently there are still some manual processes behind the scenes for issuing payments, and that's something that we would like to fix. So we're actually working on bring in multi-sig treasury capabilities on top of Sputnik DAO, for those who are familiar, which will enable us and other entities to be able to manage the entire funding life cycle end to end. So we kind of solved like the first part of it, which is like the proposal, the idea, how do you make decision, okay, approval, but then the processing of it behind the scene is the part that we are going to further automate. And the second part that we're working on is continuing with this vision of creating self-service tools for others to be able to leverage. So we want anyone to be able to go and spin up their own portal instance or this treasury tool instance. And so that's going to be a major focus for Q3 is how do we create this self-service capability where people can customize what they want and also receive upgrades on the various features that we're continuing to innovate. And again, everything is open source. Everything is public on our GitHub repos. So I encourage you to go check it out. Encourage you to come join along the journey if you want. And yeah, super excited to roll some of these other features soon.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think it really, and so much development going into that behind the scenes. Again, these are all contributors that are part of the DevHub community who are helping build all these pieces and stuff like that. So it's all one big ecosystem. I think is really pretty cool setup as well. Guillermo, so as you now are jumping
looks
into,
like Vlad had his hand. Maybe he had a comment.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Vlad.
I actually want before we go too deep into the future. I know that Joe, you are today our host, but I want to also put you on the spot and ask how do you feel like our community of being engaged, and how do we feel their interactions are going through the events like DevHub Live and newsletter, and maybe other initiatives that we were actually contributing and you were mostly leading.
Yeah, no, thanks. To turn it around. This has been, I think this past quarter has been a really exciting growth, I think, for DevHub and our engagement and outreach. Our newsletter has grown tremendously. We get anywhere between 30 and 45% opens, which if you ever done a newsletter is a tremendous number. That number is almost 3 times the average for our sector, which is really exciting and just shows that really people are interested in being part of a community. Our engagement overall, and I'm actually going to bring something up here real quick. So our socials have been something that really we've taken a lot of time. This is not just me. This has been a group effort, but really seeing, yes, our numbers aren't huge, but we've been growing these where, TikTok and YouTube were basically new. But what I'm super excited about is right here is the overall impressions and interactions that we've really started to see over the past few months, where really growing up to, over 140,000 impressions over the past 3 months. And that's just a number that for a small team growing, I'm really excited about the future of that. DevHub Live has been growing. We've been seeing anywhere between 400 and 600 total views by the time within a week of it airing across all the different platforms. Being able to do that and really just continuing to spread the word of what DevHub is all about and the opportunities here as a developer. And it's sometimes tricky in the crypto industry, but really we've seen a nice interaction, and we're going to hopefully continue to see that grow. And you can see here the interactions with our content. So this isn't just people just viewing it, but that's been growing, and we hope to kind of continue to see those numbers go up as well. So it's been a really busy quarter on that front, but I think it's been one that's really been fulfilling, and we've seen great contributions from everyone to help grow this.
Yeah, it's a very good point that it's not possible to pull out as a one-person team.
No.
So definitely, look, we have so many distribution channels, and we need support from the community. So again, call for action if you feel like that's the area of your expertise. You know who to message.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always reach out for sure. Guillermo, why don't we talk a little bit about kind of what you have coming up, and then maybe just touch on, we've been represented at every pretty much ETH Global event so far this year, but we have one coming up pretty soon. We just kind of touch on that a little bit too.
Yeah, of course. So in terms of hackathons, HCC Week is coming and HCC Brussels is coming. If you are around, please come and visit our booth and say hi. We're also going to be having a hackathon, so please be more than welcome to join. And we are going to be there in place to help you. So just come, say hi. If you want to hack, you're more than welcome to do it. After that, we're also going to be in San Francisco, we're going to be in Singapore, and we're going to be in Bangkok. So stay checking the newsletter for more info on this. But if you happen to come to any of these conferences, please just pass by and say hi, and you're more than welcome to just also hack. There are prizes, so please come, we can help you. And in terms of what I'm looking forward to see in Q3, there are a couple of things. First of all, I don't know if everyone is familiarized with the developer portal, but dev.near.org is going to start becoming what we would call the developer portal. And the whole idea that I want for that is, or let me first start with, a lot of people complain about, it's very hard to, find information when you are a developer in Near, and there's information absolutely everywhere. And the reason for this is that because you cannot, for example, put everything on docs, but then you cannot put absolutely everything on near.org, but then you cannot put absolutely everything on the pages of the SDKs or the tools, right? It's very hard. So I really envision this developer portal to become the place where we tell you, you want to develop on Near? Okay, just come and enter into the developer portal, and the developer portal will be there to help you. And if there is a hackathon, you will have information about the hackathon. And if you're searching for docs will already be there. And if you want to use some applications, you will find them. So I really want this to be the one-stop shop for absolutely every single needs of the developers, right? And I'm really looking forward to work on this during Q3. Besides that, and an important part of the developer platform is going to be, of course, documentation. And in documentation right now, we're going through an effort of reorganizing in order to simplify search on it. So we have right now maybe a lot of categories. We will want to just simplify the amount of categories and the amount of pages that we have. And on top of that, I really hope that we can tackle on Q3 or worst case scenario by the end of the year to add some sort of AI guidance for people. I'm not necessarily interested on a bot that teaches you how to code, but I am interested on a bot that teaches you or helps you to find resources, right? You just know that you just heard chain abstraction. Okay, then maybe you should go to this page, but you already heard about it and you're searching for templates or maybe examples. Okay, the bot can also help you to get there. And by talking about chain abstraction, something that I really want is chain abstraction to to bring on the chain abstraction to docs. Right now we have only because this is something that we have started in Q2. We only have a couple of examples and a couple of documentation. And I want docs to embrace the chain abstraction and have be a place where you land because you heard of chain abstraction, or because maybe you're an Ethereum developer and you're interested in how can I simplify onboarding for Ethereum developers? Well, you know what? You can use fast auth and chain signatures in order for your users can now log in with an email and then control an Ethereum account just through Near. And I'm really looking forward to see this. And that's on the side of the docs. And the last thing that I want to say is that I also want to see the DevRel to grow into more a global initiative, where something that is very hard, for example, is if you have a conference in Singapore and you have a conference in San Francisco, right? This is very hard to have people in order to attend to both of them, because there's just so much jet lag that you can take on your life, right? So I'm really looking forward to see a global DevRel, where whenever you say, we have a conference somewhere in the world, we have a trusted person that we can send, and that we know that is going to represent us with the amount of quality, the high quality that DevHub represents.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. I put at the bottom of the screen too. If you go to any of these events, whether we're there or not, we have our bounty booster. I promote every week, and so definitely check out that link too. Vlad, let's wrap it with you. I know there's a lot of cool stuff coming from the tooling aspect. And I think there's even something that has not been announced yet that maybe you can kind of hint at as well for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of stuff is in the works, and I wonder, should I start with the most exciting or least exciting? But I think all of it is exciting. I have problems with ranking those. So I think the most anticipated and already known thing that is coming is the new Ledger app. So the application that like on Ledger device, this very small thing, you actually need an application to be installed in order to properly display the transaction that you are signing on this very small device. And there has been a major work to completely rewrite it in Rust end of last year, and we went through the security audit and recently added support for this latest, greatest new device, Stacks, Ledger Stacks, if I remember correctly, which is this e-ink display. With like probably much easier to use. So all of those great features with extended support, with bigger transactions that you can sign on it, with the meta transaction support, with sign message support. So all of that is coming hopefully in a month. We are like very close to the final version of it. On the other topics, there is definitely something that I'm looking forward, which is the new GS library or new GS interface. I'm not sure if the library will be completely rewritten. There is probably no point in that, but the JavaScript tooling will be in much better state, hopefully. Also looking forward in the next quarter, with several teams collaborating right now on the better design, taking the lessons learned from Boss and the previous experience using Near API JS and Wallet Selector. So all of that together hopefully will bring even better experience for web app developers. And on that note, there is also R&D direction that we are exploring, which is the part that I already mentioned, the Python SDK for the contract development. There is already some promising results of being able to package Python runtime in under 300 kilobytes, which is a good start. And the other part, we actually invest more into the mobile development as well. So the libraries for Kotlin, Swift, Dart could be anticipated. Dart already has a library fully maintained by the community. Check it out. Python library is also fully maintained by the community. Also great thing. Like fully maintained. Like it's not, hasn't been started by nobody from the Pagoda team or otherwise. It was funded from DevHub and maintained by external teams, which is great to see the way how it is getting decentralized. On the and last but not least, there is a secret project that we are launching hopefully in the next weeks called Race of Sloth. And there will be a lot of challenge, a lot of joy that we will bring to the contributions to open source. And we will start with near projects first. The first months, you will only count in the contributions to near ecosystem projects, but then we want to expand it with a list of all the dependencies that Near has been contributing, has been using over the years, because we want to give back to the community of open source all this joy, and potentially we will evolve into better like gamification platform for open source contributions with all sorts of funny parts, and hopefully bring also some monetary values to it indirectly. But for more, we'll probably talk in the blog post and later on this year.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about it. I'm glad we can start to kind of hint at it, and I think it's going to be a really fun way to start to contribute to open source, and I hope it brings more people to being part of open source communities, because I think that is something where if you're trying to grow as a developer, it's a great place to be, and it's nice to get recognized too for the work you're putting in. So excited to see that come to life. Well, we hit on so much. There's so many different parts of this. I hope that people picked up a few great things that have happened and are going to happen. We'll put out a blog post too that highlights all of this. You can see everything that's gone on and is going on. And we really encourage everyone to continue to kind of keep reaching out to all of us, anyone at the DevHub team, because we want to help in any way that that help you become part of this ecosystem and community, because there is always a lot going on, and we all need support, and this is not a single person or a single team job to continue to grow this. So really appreciate it. Any last quick words or anything? But this was so much great information though so far.
Well, I'd like to encourage everybody to contribute more, and the reality that we are building, so there is no point in just sitting and waiting when you can go and contribute. So we encourage you to step in and say, okay, I can do this, and we will definitely try to all our best to empower you. And we're very welcoming community overall. So I'd like to see everybody pushing forward.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming in and joining in. We'll continue to check in throughout the year. I think this is a great way to kind of highlight all the awesome things that are going on. So really appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
All right. I think, again, we'll put out a blog post. There's so much stuff. I know there's so much information. It's hard to keep up with all of that. Let's jump into, so the Heat from Jutsu he was on a few episodes back, talked about all kinds of different things with what they're working on. I think this is a great opportunity to kind of check back in. I know they have some updates, so let's bring him up. Heat, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. So we just had you not too long ago, but I know you already got stuff going. Let's jump into it, because I think if people aren't following along, you guys have some really exciting stuff happening, and I know you kind of hinted towards some things last time. Do you want to jump into those updates?
Yeah. So if you are hacking, I know that there are two groups of people when people hack. One is the idea people, one is the builders. So now we build a tool called Bento that a idea person can also bring their app live. So we use generative AI to kind of generate the front end. So if you want to give it a try, I don't know if we have time for demo.
Oh yeah, let's both pull it up. Absolutely.
Okay,
let's show it.
So then I will show you. We have a recording, 2 minutes, so it's a short demo.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
yeah, while you're pulling it, I love the idea of being able to allow people who are not programmers to start to contribute to that process, and I think it solves a couple different things. So I think this is exciting for people to see. Let me bring this on stage here. Nice.
Yeah.
We made sure your project creation journey with Bento is now easier and more efficient. Let me show you how by setting up a coffee shop website. All you need to do is write your prompt. We'll name it Jutsu Cafe and click on Generate. Instantly, the system selects an appropriate template and updates all related codes and UI elements accordingly. Want to update the call to action section? Just click, modify the text, or regenerate the entire section with a single button click. We can also change the color scheme and update gallery images. Every section is fully customizable to suit your needs. As you can see, our changes are reflected instantly, including previously ungenerated images and text. It's that simple and efficient. Now, let's introduce a brand new feature. Start from Screenshot. This tool allows you to build sections based on a screenshot only. Let's start by selecting a screenshot. For example, I have a screenshot of a next.js landing page. We'll name it Jutsu landing page. Add a description if needed, and click on Generate. Now, as you can see, Bento has created the landing page. You can add new sections like a pricing section by using the AI component feature. To add a new section, click on the AI component button. Select the section you want to add, and it's done. Here, we've just added a pricing section. You can create multiple sections and build an interesting user interface. You can also preview them, zoom in and out, and see mobile and desktop versions of the pages. Sections can be hidden or shown as needed. On the Projects page, you can manage all your components and projects. Load more, see detailed previews, and switch between dark and light modes. Building front ends is easier with Bento.
Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, there are a few things. So that demo is kind of we wanted to keep it neutral, so like no Web3 or Web2. But imagine like you can bring a boss component inside that workspace that you get, and then you can, in one click, you can deploy to boss. So that's
Very
also
cool.
did not. Yeah.
Wow. So is most of it, so whether I'm building Web 2, is it, so it's all coming out as React? Is it focused more on Next as the next library, or is it just like vanilla React? How it comes out usually?
Yeah, so it comes out as when you deploy. So let me just live show a few things, and then
Yeah.
it will be more clear. But how do I present my desktop?
Be able to hit to the present and then show.
Yeah, share screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a project that I worked. And then what you can do is, so you already saw like you can add different section and you can customize the whole thing, but there is a deploy button. When you click, you can deploy as a React on-chain component. So if I click that one, that will bring me to, that will generate basically boss component from there. And then now I have the same website that I can deploy on-chain, so directly on-chain. So now I can connect my wallet, and I can deploy as a kind of a regular boss component. So
very cool.
To we generate both React component plus boss component that anyone can use.
That's really, I think that's a really interesting approach, because I've seen some other like generators, and they're very they're very restrictive in how they go, and so like you almost have to like learn how to use the generator. But it sounds like the way you guys are trying to go is like, look, just have an idea, just have an image, and now we're giving you that flexibility. And I love the part that like you're still integrating where you can deploy on chain and you still can leverage all those things. It's not restrictive to one way or the other.
No, yeah. So you still can bring your boss component. So let's say you are building a, like we talked about, the biggest thing we learned from React on chain or boss component is the composability. And now we are giving we're making it one step easier for anyone who even don't know programming. They can bring other section and then bring a on-chain component and put it in the same place. So that's kind of the goal, where with Bento, we want to empower non-technical person who have some idea, want to do some prototyping or want to participate in the hackathon bounties. So that's kind of the goal.
That great point. You're making my life easy as a host here for that transition. I think the hackathon piece is such an untapped thing, because I know we talked about it together. I've talked with a few other people now over the past couple months here, and when we talk about hackathons, it's always like, oh, the front end gets put to the end and forget about it, whatever else. And now, like, you have it all right there where they can quickly spin something up. There's no excuse to not have a front end, because Bento can actually do that for you. I mean, you just show like in seconds. Like it's really pretty cool. Can you talk a little bit about like what's happening on the back end there, and like what are you doing to actually generate that? Like, what are you leveraging? What LLMs, things like that?
Yeah. So what happened is when you describe your projects and give a name, so from the description we generate a plan. So like a landing page have different sections. So you probably, when you click generate, then you'll see it will generate a plan, and then it will kind of start generating different section of the app that you want to build. And underneath it, you use GPT 4.0 to kind of generate, and which is also a little bit fine-tuned with kind of a so that it can produce on-chain React kind of thing.
Right.
And then then we have the editor, where visual editor, then you can go and target individual section. So previously the Bento, one of the problem was it generated a bunch of code, but then it needed a programmer or someone to go if they wanted to change the individual section, or we had to send the whole file again to generate. One of the problem with generator is every time you try to generate, it generate totally different things. But most cases we want to change a small portion of the whole thing. So that's why we make it super composable. And then when you have the UI and you are happy with it, so you can deploy on Near, or you can export it to your GitHub. So then you will have a choice of like do you want React on chain or Next.js or vanilla React? You will have an option that you can kind of export to your GitHub. So that's kind of how we want to keep the collaboration. So the idea is, if you're an idea person, you will kind of prototype your idea and then give it to a developer through GitHub, and developer will have a starting point to know like what they need to do.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, I do like that approach. I've messed around with a few different code generators now just to get a sense of it, and I think the point you're making here, of especially around like you've really always needed to have a programmer still in the middle of all of that. Everything that I've used so far, anything that's spit out, is usually something that's kind of buggy and off, and so then I got to go manually fix it. Or like you said, the big piece is like if I want to change something, right? Either I have this mess of like code that has been generated, or I'm regenerating the whole file, and for whatever reason, it does not come out the same. Like it just, so it sounds like you guys have kind of solved some of that, of playing this, like, would you call it like a middleware almost for that language where you're doing some translating?
So for that, we are doing kind of if you go deep down, it's like different prompting techniques. So you can do like a chain of thought, and kind of you do multiple steps. So first step, you ask the LLM to generate a plan, and then second step, like you kind of start taking those plan and execute. It's more like the way most people, a lot of developer probably know about Devin or the Cognition Lab, like they're building this AI engineer. So kind of their technique, like how they they do it. So we are kind of took two different technique. One is like in the beginning, the way Vercel does, like it's like a generate everything using kind of a LLM. We are doing kind of hybrid. So we guide the LLM with some structure, but also give enough freedom to kind of come up with new content, new images, new structure. So that's how kind of we do kind of a hybrid approach.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, it's a really interesting approach. And, is the goal to continue to just focus on front ends, or are you going to expand that beyond just the front end?
So we are expanding beyond front end. So we are kind of so far we built a bunch of like a code generator. So I think the value proposition I see is more like a place. So let's say you want to build a project, whole project. You need lots of different things like AI developer, marketing, this and that. So kind of gradually we want to become a marketplace. That's was the plan since the beginning. But the React on chain, like we have 8,000 component, but it is hard to imagine. Like the problem that we faced in Boss is like you have 20,000 component people deployed, but you have no idea which one is the best one, which one I should use, which one is maintained. Similar thing will happen with the AI code generator or AI app. So we are in the future. We are going to work on that, and also build up more features that developer will need in near ecosystem to kind of from start to finish, deploying, building front end, building the smart contract, building the kind of deployment pipeline, and deploying and monitoring. So we are not going to do all these different pieces, but what we want to do is we want to create this place where every other project can also plug in, and then instead of we build everything, it will be more pluggable in the future.
Got it. Yeah, no, I love where you guys are going. Is this available for people to use today?
Yes. Go to bento.jutsu.ai.
Nice.
bento.jutsu.ai, and if you have a Near account or if you have a GitHub account, you can just log in and you can start playing with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I this sounds great. I love that you're continuing to focus on tooling. Perfect thing here. I think to kind of pull it all together, if someone wants to follow along and stay up to date on what you guys are building, because you guys are doing a lot quickly, what are some of the best ways to stay in touch?
You can just reach out to me directly at Zahid Sharp in Telegram. You can also kind of go to our Telegram channel. It's Jutsu at Jutsu AI, and then in the hackathon, if there is a Telegram channel, we'll be there. So anytime you need any support, just send a message in Telegram, any of the Near channel. I'll be there.
Awesome. I'm really excited to continue to see you guys grow and build. Always welcome to jump on and give some updates. And I'm certainly going to give this a run myself and try it out. I really appreciate it, and look forward to see again what you guys continue to build.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime. Thanks, Saeed. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. So that was really cool. I encourage people to go check that out, give that a test run. There's really some, I think, again, if you have been in this AI space and playing with some of these tools and seen them. They are tricky to work with. This is really nice to see one that also interacts with Web3, so you can still deploy on chain. I'm sure they have a lot of other stuff on their roadmap to tie some of these different things in, so that'll be exciting to see. Couple quick updates before we wrap here. Again, there are some big conferences coming up, and so I do want to make sure if you're going to ECC, if you're going to in different events that are coming up, especially throughout the entire summertime here, I want to make sure that again, the bounty booster is always on top of mind. You can always, if you win a prize, and you use near tech in any form. So there it is. You can go use Bento, build a front end, deploy it on chain. That's part of the, your hackathon submission. You can be eligible for the bounty booster. That all comes into play there. Continue to follow along with the stuff that we're doing on DevHub. We have, again, tons of stuff continuing to grow. We'll be at all these events. We'll have representation. We have things going on. We always have great swag. So definitely go check that out as well. Lastly, if you were not aware, I guess maybe tell from my accent, I am American. We do have a holiday next week, but we will still be live. So we will be live next week. So I do not miss another update. We always, again, we post these live, post these afterwards on YouTube. You can go follow along there as well, but we will be live next week. The show does not stop for that. We're excited to bring you some more updates. We have some fun things going on as well coming up. And if you have not already seen, this has been recently announced just as we were actually recording, Redacted Bangkok. More information about this event is now live. I think more is to come as well, but you can certainly go check that out and get some more information about that big event in the near ecosystem. Again, I appreciate everyone's time. I am your host, Joe. I will see you again this time next week. And again, please reach out to us if you have anything else going on. But until then, enjoy your week. Cheers.